Anthony Snowden here, ladies and gentlemen, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about this video. I had the opportunity to interview three fathers, two of them single dads, in honor of Father's Day. I am honored, humbled, and privileged to have crossed paths with these gentlemen. They are role models for me. First up, we have Matt Bauman. He's a general manager over at Burke Construction, located here in the Poconos. Then we have Bill Snyder. Bill is the owner of Mountain Appliance, and again, that's located right here in the Poconos. And then finally, we have Mike Velasquez. Mike Velasquez is a team leader with Frontier Communications, located in Pomona, California. These gentlemen, for me, demonstrate outstanding fatherhood and outstanding leadership. So this video is my testimonial to them. I hope you enjoy it. And to all the dads out there, happy Father's Day. What is your definition of leadership?
I guess leadership is being able to set an example.
Okay.
I think is number one. Being able to lead by example, and then also to see the bigger picture for the people that are beneath you. I guess you would say are working under you, and be able to pick them up and send them in a direction that is beneficial to both them and I guess in the business, to the business itself too.
Yeah. I love that you said bigger picture, because I always think of vision. Like a leader's job is to impart that vision.
Right.
So what does leadership have to do with fatherhood?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that's the most important part of being a fatherhood, really. You're setting the example for the whole family. My older two kids are teenagers now, and my youngest is going to be 2 in September. So for me, I guess really it's a matter of for my daughter, it's very cliche, but helping her see the good in a man and what she can try to set a good example for her, so she knows to expect more for whoever she decides to settle down with at some point. For my son, how to be a good man and to treat his family right, and to take care of himself first, and then eventually settle down and get married and take care of his family. So tell me about your daughter. I mean, you mentioned that setting an example for her, because part of leadership is walking the talk and modeling the behavior. What do you mean by that when you say, as a dad, setting an example for her and the type of man she expects? Well, it's whatever her path she decides, I guess, to choose in life. It's like, it's like I just want her to set expectations higher for herself, not to settle for anything, because I was young,
Right.
My ex and I, when we were in high school, we were high school sweethearts, and then we went on and, just kind of did what was natural,
Right.
It all happened too young, and my daughter knows that, I said, I love you to death, and it would have been great for this to happen later on. There's things I wanted to do that I never got to do, so I just try to let her see that she can take care of herself first. Do the things that are going to make you the better person in the long run. Whatever it is you want to do. If you want to work at a gas station, that's what you're going to do. Then be the best gas station attendant you can be.
Right.
But that's really got to be what you want to do, not what you end up with, get stuck with. So that's really what I try to instill in her, because she's a brilliant kid. She's very, very smart. All I want as a parent, all I want is for her to pursue her dreams and her goals, and not to settle for anything in the meantime. Not to end up with the guy who treats her bad, or puts her second and puts her. I want her to realize that it's her life too, and she has opportunities for her. And the same with my son too. You don't want him to, get a girl pregnant in high school and like never to have that future that he could possibly have. I really you want to show them that there's a lot more to life. Youth is wasted on the young. Those high school, like you said, those years are so brief.
You go to bed one night, you wake up, and you're 30.
But the craziest thing is, the decisions you make during that first 20 years of your life shape your entire future. You just spend the rest of your life dealing with the consequences.
Right.
Really.
Right.
And
that's why some people fall into the trap of being a victim of their circumstances.
Yeah.
Because those informative years can be rough, but it doesn't mean that's the final definition of who you are.
True.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
So why do you think fathers get a bad rap? Because Father's Day is coming up, right? Mother's Day, #1 busiest restaurant day of the year.
Sure.
Father's Day, you're going to be in the backyard grilling,
Yeah.
but why do you think dads sometimes get a bad rap?
I mean, I guess that's an interesting question because, I guess dads are, it's a challenging challenging role to play, like it's because most of what you know about being a father, you learn from your dad. That's what it comes down to, whether you had a dad, didn't have a dad, whether it was an uncle or a neighbor or whatever.
Right.
So you're just going to repeat that process. It takes a very, very, I guess, intelligent, open-minded person to break that cycle. So, I mean, my dad, he was always around. My parents, they went through some things with growing up, and they separated for a little while, but he came back, and we were always together, and we had a good family. My dad, luckily for me, I played sports all growing up, and my dad, he worked in town. We grew up local. I'd see him at my games, and it meant so much to me to see him at my games. He wasn't there when he started because it was almost impossible. But he would get there as soon as he was done with work. So that was really a big part for me growing up, is knowing my dad was always there.
Okay.
Now the challenge for me as a father is my kids live 40 minutes away, and I can't always get there. You get stuck in the cycle of work and things like that. So it's difficult.
Right.
They have games sometimes after work on days that I just can't get down there, or they're doing things at school that I just can't make it to, because not only do I have my life here, I have my job here, my roles that I play in this community, but I also have that obligation there to be an important part of them. So, what it comes down to then, I guess, is really trying to, that I have to make up for more time with the time that I have for them, and be more influential and be more accepting too, because in that position that I realize that I cannot do as much to shape them as I would like to.
Right.
And I really have no say. I have a great relationship with their mom, and as far as that stuff goes. But once they go home, they're home. They're in that house. I don't really have the ability to say, "Oh, you're grounded. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. Don't go there. You can't do that. Do your homework." I can say that over the phone. So that it's tough. So I've had a tough time with my kids growing up over the years in that way, where you get stuck trying to discipline, from a distance.
Right.
But then when they're with you, you want to be, you want to try to make up for that. You want to do fun things with them, have those good experiences. So you almost get spoiled. So their mom gets stuck with the hard job, and then I was getting the easy job.
Right.
Oh, they come to me. They're going to my dad's house. We're going to go to the movies. We're going to Chuck E. Cheese's. We're going to do whatever we're going to do when I'm at my dad's house. Then with my mom's house, it's real life: homework, school, showers, bath, eat, brush your teeth. So as time went on, what I've noticed, and this is something I just came to terms with in the last couple months, and it was really eye-opening to me, is that I was really trying really hard to push my daughter and my son. He's younger. Boys are different, and that's a whole nother game.
Yeah.
Daughters, though, I was trying so hard to tell her to work harder that she thought I was saying that she was a failure, that she wasn't good enough. Because kids take it for what it is, and when you're constantly telling them that's, you're trying to say, oh yeah, you got to study, you got to do a good job, you got to do all these things, they start to think like, well, I am doing that. What do you think I'm not good enough? And what I realized was I had to almost accept her for who she is, tell her that I support her at this point, and whatever she needs, I'm here for her, but kind of let her take her own path. So going back to the original question, why do dads get a bad rap? I was trying so hard to push my daughter and son, for that matter, to make up for lost time when I wasn't with them, really trying to make up that difference and overcompensate, to the point where they were kind of like, I don't like my dad. He's really hard on me. Like, nothing I do is ever good enough for him. And once I realized that, it was like, oh wow, you're not a little girl anymore. You're not a little boy anymore. You're teenagers now. You're shaping, developing, you're changing. And what I was doing was not necessarily reinforcing them as much as it was kind of tearing them down.
I know in the community you get an opportunity to interact with young dads. What advice would you give to a young father, that kid who's, 20, 21, maybe got his high school sweetheart pregnant and is trying to find his path, but at the same time he's been thrust into this fatherhood role. What would you tell him?
Well, I tell you what, I was there. That was me, and it took a long time for it to register to me, because it's a very tough. It's tough. It's not easy, But realistically, if I could simplify it, I would say don't overthink it. Be the father that you wish you had, or that you wish your dad could have been, or make up those differences. If you didn't have a dad, be the dad. Don't follow in those other footsteps. Don't follow the examples that other men have set for you. Be your own man, because you have a chance to break the cycle. And now, like I said, my dad was a great dad. He was always there for me. And when my kids were young, it was challenging. We were young families starting out. We had no money. We had nothing, and it was all we could do to scrape by. And the stresses of life are harder than being a father. That's the truth. If you just step up and do your job and take care of your family, everything else will start to fall into play. If the only thing you are focused on is taking care of your family, and whether you have a son, a daughter, it doesn't matter. Maybe you have custody of the kids. Maybe the mom's not in the picture. I've seen that dozens of times too. But really, at that point, the one thing you have to do is realize that it's not just you anymore. You're taking care of your kids. You're taking care of a family, and you're the head. You're the general. You're the leader of the family.
You're the leader of the family.
Everybody looks to you.
So leadership is not just about the work environment. I mean, we're sitting here in Burke Construction.
Sure.
Leadership is just not about what you do at work and leading the men at work.
Oh no, absolutely not. This is probably the least important role you play. If you're a family man, this is second. You got to put the food on the table. You have to do this job. But if you had two envelopes on the table and one said you lose your family, one says you lose your job, that's a no-brainer.
Right.
I'll take my family. I'll make it happen. I will make it happen as long as I have my family with me. If you have no family, then maybe it's different. But I think family is more valuable than a good job any day.
But I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about fatherhood and leadership and what that all means. You had shared your story with me before, and I thought it was very powerful, and that's why I wanted to interview you. But what is your definition of leadership?
Wow, tricked me on that one. You said this was going to be easy. Leadership's it's the ability to inspire others.
Okay.
And inspire them in a good way.
Okay.
And to put them in a direction that they need to be going.
Okay. Actually, I think at least that's my textbook definition of it, is plain and simple as influence. How do you influence or inspire others to move in a direction that's best for them?
Yeah.
So what does leadership have to do with being a dad?
Ooh, you're shaping a young mind. I mean, you're teaching that young mind to grow and to become a better person.
Okay.
And it's a hard thing to do. It's a very challenging thing.
Okay.
I've had this conversation with my son many times, and I'm not doing this to be mean or to yell at you I'm doing this because I need to show you how to be a better person.
And how old is your son?
He's 6.
He's 6.
So he still doesn't understand that concept yet.
Right, because daddy's being mean.
Yeah, because daddy's being mean.
Right. And you're a single dad?
I'm a single dad.
Talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, what are the challenges in being a single father?
Well, you have to be mom and dad. That's the biggest challenge. You have to have that emotion that a mom would give him, but you also have to have the sternness of a father and the guidance of a father, the wisdom.
So how do you deal with that emotion of a mom piece of it?
It's tough. I don't really. I don't want to say it comes naturally, but you learn to live with it. You learn to deal with it, and you have to comfort him when he has his boo boos, and at the same time, raise your voice when he's doing something stupid. So
okay,
it's kind of it's just something you pick up on, I guess. Something
okay.
I had to learn quick.
Do you ever find it hard to, you mentioned that you have to be stern with your kid. Do you ever find it hard holding him accountable?
No, I can honestly say that.
Why not?
Because I know it's in his best interest. It's what he needs, no matter what, no matter whether he likes what I have to say or not, the person you make him now is the person he's going to become in the future. So,
okay. Why is that so important?
Well, I mean, you're shaping a person. I don't want him to think he can get away with anything in life and take that into adulthood. He needs to learn there's accountability for his actions, and even at a young age, it's harder when they're young because
right. They don't
quite
understand,
understand, they don't comprehend. But
right.
If you don't start now, then you have to,
bail them out.
Pay the consequences later on.
You bail them out of jail later.
Exactly.
So what advice would you have for any single dads out there? Because, a lot of dads get a bad rap nowadays, but there are good fathers out there, and there are a lot of single dads. You're seeing more and more single dads.
If they're already a single dad that's inspired by, being a dad, then they don't really need any advice. They just need to do what's best for them. They need to know best for their child, I should say, not best for them, obviously.
Right.
They need to just continue to do what they're doing. I have more advice for the people that aren't being true fathers than I do for the people that are.
Okay, so what advice would you have for somebody who's not being a true father?
Get in your child's life. Be interested in them, go to baseball games, just be a part of their life, because kids crave that. Kids want their fathers. So,
what if
no matter what,
the parents aren't together? How does a dad...
You need to, I don't know how to say it, you need to mend the fences with your partner for the sake of the child, if you're not around the child all the time.
So why do you think dads get a bad rep?
Because there are so many dads that don't want to be involved in their child's life. I mean, that's the bottom line. Emotionally speaking, dads aren't as connected as moms are to kids.
Right.
It's a simple fact, no matter who you are. But dads perpetrate that. They the ones that don't want to be in their kid's life and make that name just. But there are dads out there that do, and that
which is why I'm talking to you. Yeah, because you're doing.
Like you said, the dads that are doing the right thing don't have the time to brag about it or get in the press.
They're just doing it.
We're so busy doing it. I mean, we're so busy, raising our kids.
Handling your business.
Yep.
And who was it? Chris Rock. You know the comedian Chris Rock?
Yep.
He said that, he was talking to a friend of his, and the guy said, I take care of my kids. And Chris Rock said, I shouldn't be congratulating you for that. You're supposed to take care of your kids. Why are you bragging about that like that's some big thing? That's what you're supposed to do.
People tell me that all the time. They're like, I don't know how you do it. We're so proud of you. I'm like, it's what you do. Like,
it's what you're supposed to do.
Why is this an accomplishment in today's society that I'm taking care of my son? Like, I'm a parent.
Hence this interview.
Yeah.
Because I want people to know that there are guys out there that are taking care of their business quietly, efficiently, effectively, daily, just doing it, not looking for the recognition, doing it for the sake of their kids.
Yeah.
So
that's what you need.
Yeah, that's exactly that makes the world.
That's what our society needs.
Listen. So what last thoughts, comments, parting words would you have for all the dads as we approach Father's Day? Because it's coming up Sunday.
Congratulations. Good luck. No, it's worth every second of it. I mean, all the new fathers out there, you're in for a ride, and all the fathers have been doing it for a while.
Okay, you brought up something. I have one last question for you.
Okay.
Particularly in our community, there are some challenges with some of the young men. What advice would you have for a young man who just newly became a father? So that guy who was his high school sweetheart and just got out of high school, 19, 20, and finds out he's a dad.
Your life's not over. Your life's just beginning. Just learn all you can. Pay attention, be around, learn how to change a diaper, learn how to get up and help your wife or girlfriend or whatever at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and, you just be involved. The more involved you are, the more your child's going to respect you growing up. So.
Yeah, that leads me to another thought that you mentioned. Mothers have a tighter emotional bond. Do you think it's because they do all those things you just mentioned? Like the mom is usually the one that's up at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
changing the diapers, those little things.
I think that's a big portion of it, but I also think there's that emotional connection from carrying the child for so long. But yeah, that's a big part. I mean, from 2 months on, I was up doing the 3 a.m. feedings and all by myself, doing diaper changes, doing this, doing that.
Okay.
So yeah, I do believe we have a connection that he'll never have with, her.
Anybody else.
With anybody else for that matter.
Yeah.
Because of that, we've been through everything together. Everything. I mean, the only thing is now he's in school. We spend a little time apart, but we've shared everything in life together. So. everything in his short life. So
Right. You are his world.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you for allowing me to interview you, but I also want to commend you, even though we talked about, I shouldn't commend you for doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But I think just being a single dad, number one, is a little different than most situations. So I appreciate that. But you're also a single dad who's also running his own business.
Yeah.
So that, in my eyes, is huge.
Yeah.
Because you are juggling a couple of things. You're trying to shape a young mind and then trying to shape a business at the same time.
That's why I'm running my own business. I'm not doing this out of my own wants or needs. I'm doing this because it was what was best for our family. Because I can spend more time with him. I can, flex my time a little better. And I can also inspire him and show him that you can make yourself better and you can, not work a 9 to 5 and that's not your only option. You have other options, and that was my goal. So.
Mike, how you doing, sir?
Hey, what's up, Snowman? What's going on?
Same old. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you good, man.
Good, man. How's everything going?
Everything's going well. How are you? How are the boys?
Oh, man. Well, every day is a journey, brother. Every day is a journey.
I hear you, man. All right, well, I want to welcome you and thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you. As I've always told you, you're one of the best fathers I know.
Wow. Well, thank you, man.
Hey, seriously, man, you inspire me, dude. You're a role model for me. So in honor of Father's Day, because on Mother's Day I wrote an article about mothers as leaders, and I didn't want to leave the guys out because, sometimes guys get dads get a bad rep.
Absolutely.
I know a couple of good dads, so I said, let me do something a little different for Father's Day to represent for the men so that people know that there are some guys out there that are doing what they need to do in terms of their roles as fathers. And that's kind of where you come in, sir.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Definitely. I'm honored. I don't even, I just do what I do. It's no different than being at work. I just go on and do what I do. So, we never do it for the recognition.
And that's the true definition of a leader, right? You do it because it's the right thing to do and it brings value to others, not for the recognition.
Yeah, I mean,
what is your definition of leadership, Mike?
Well, that's interesting that you say that. For me, leaderships are the ones that are out there on the forefront, that guide people, not direct. I mean, because you have those two types of leaders, right? To me, it's more of a form of a teacher, right? That out in the forefront, that's willing to guide, inspire, uplift, carry on your back when needed, but also just that you're very visible. You show that you're caring. It's to me, it's an emotional type of thing. But to me, the best thing is willing to inspire, bring people out of their comfort zone, and get them to that common goal. What is our goal? And to me, that's how you lead. You lead by example. Like I said, being out in the forefront, and then also just like I said, aspiring for greatness. Hit that goal, that target that we all want to hit. That's kind of my definition of a leader.
Okay, that's a very good definition. I like it, sir. What would you say is probably the most important quality you need to have to be an effective leader?
You have to be able to listen, an active and attentive listener. You get key clues along the way. And if you miss those clues, it's no different than, for I have representatives that's their job, right, is to interview and listen to the customers. And if they don't listen, they're going to miss a lot of key things that individual is trying to express to them. And it's no different with myself as I'm leading this team. I don't listen to them, or if I'm not an attentive or active listener, I can miss some things.
So when you talk about family, let's shift the conversation a little bit here. and talk about, being a dad, and I know that you're a single dad. What are the similarities between being a leader and being a father?
Well, I mean, having two boys, and my oldest being about to turn 15, and I got to tell you, it's tough. And it's no different. I mean, the one thing I've learned lately is you definitely have to lead by example. And also you got to not be afraid to make mistakes. I don't think I said that prior, but, we as parents, we're going to make decisions. And oftentimes as coaches and leaders, we're going to make mistakes. And the one thing that I've been as a leader is not afraid to challenge myself and think outside the box. Well, it's the same thing with parenting. I mean, we're not always going to make the right decisions. But the one thing I'm learning now is I get older, hopefully more mature, and I learn from my children is that I will make mistakes myself. But as long as I learn from them and I recognize them, it makes me a better father. It makes me a better person.
All right, so you mentioned, that having emotion, and as a leader, you wouldn't cry. Do you cry as a dad?
Oh, I just cried the other night. I had one of those discussions where, and I say I wouldn't cry as a leader. I probably take that back. It all depends on the situation, but because I'm an open door type of guy, I believe in family, and I've dealt with some things lately. But I try to stay strong for my employees. We have a birth coming up in our team, so that's always great. We're excited about that. But I definitely cried the other night. Don't do it very often with my son, but it was definitely a discussion that he had to have. And you got to share those moments wherever it may be. It was at it was just an impromptu thing, and I knew when you know your children, you know when they're happy, and you know when they're not feeling the way you would want them to. So you have that discussion, and sometimes it does lead to an emotional type of thing, but the end result is, you become closer, and you can't break that bond. It's an amazing bond, and tears are good because you learn from those tears, whether it's in a relationship with your kids, with work. I mean, tears are a great thing. A lot of times they'll say men shouldn't cry, but the best men I knew that I do know cry because that's how they learn from whatever it is, and they turn it around, and it becomes an amazing positive experience. So I'm never afraid to cry. If it's for all the right reasons, then I know a great thing is going to come out. The outcome is going to be great.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing, Mike. And you are a single dad. What is the? I know you mentioned your partner, and I'm very happy for you there. But since I've known you, you've pretty much been a single dad, and maybe that's going to change soon. Hint, hint. But
maybe.
I'm going to help your girlfriend out a little bit. But what is the biggest challenge about being a single dad?
That support, because for me, and I give it up to the single mothers out there, and I've learned so much from them, because it is a hard thing to do, because it's a balance. The one thing I've always said is, I try to be a mother and father, and sometimes it's impossible, but you just got to do it. And having that balance, knowing what to say or do, I give it up to those families that have strong relationships, because when you go alone, in anything in life, like they say, it takes a village, right? I mean, so imagine just one person doing the full load. It's pretty tough. And then there's days where I can't understand from an emotional standpoint, even though I said I'm not afraid to cry. Not every time am I understanding to the depths of how maybe another half would be able to understand. Because I'm that dad. I still want to be. I've coached my boys too, in baseball, football. So we have that tough mentality, and you make a mistake, you got to fix it. So it's not that easy to be that guy to be able to when he falls down, and you just want to tell him to get back up and get back out there. When sometimes maybe you do got to to help them lick their wounds and make them feel better and feel good about themselves. So it's a very difficult balance.
I hear you. What advice would you give to any other single dads out there?
Don't be afraid to talk to your kids. Be uncomfortable. And know that they do love you, and they will tell you. And just cherish every moment, because they grow up fast. You know, I've been blessed. Like I said, my son's going to be 15, and the world's changing. You know, the world's changing, and he's changing, and, you know, he's not my little one. I still have my 8-year-old, but it goes by fast. You know, and what they want to do changes, and also support them.
All right, Mike. This has been very insightful, man. You know, I always had a lot of admiration and respect for you, even more so now just hearing you talk about, you know, what your definition of being a man and being a father is, and how it's okay to cry, because I think as men we do often think that we have to be tough and man up and shake everything off, and that could be challenging when you don't have a woman or a mom around to help soften the edges. So it is a delicate balance. So I want to thank you, man. I want to wish you a happy Father's Day. I wanted to see if you had any last thoughts for any of the dads out there as we approach Father's Day. Any last thoughts for other fathers out there?
No, man. Just know that you know, just cherish your kids. Whether it's you have 1, 2, 3, even though a distance may be a challenge at some point, just don't make excuses. Because at the end of the day, our kids, the boys, or girls, you know, they will always look up to their dad, and we want to make them proud. Make them proud that we make every effort to be there. We can't always do everything. I mean, well, we sure always can do more than what we want. You know, we control it. We control it. Love them. Don't be afraid to kiss them. Don't be afraid to tell them you love them. And like I said, cherish every moment, whatever that moment may be, because you might not get another one.